Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the University of Reading, Malaysia's first graduation ceremony today. We are very proud to have you here. We are very proud to have our graduates both from the Malaysia campus and with the UK campus joining us as well. I've been told that I need to come as Academic Director of Teaching and Learning and give you a briefing about how today is going to continue. So, before the ceremony begins, firstly, you should know we're not expecting a fire alarm. So if a fire alarm goes off, please stay where you are, and our marshals, dressed as lovely Hashiba here is, will usher you out through the rear exits and take you to the muster point. Secondly, the ceremony begins promptly at 2 p.m. Once the ceremony has begun, the doors will be shut, and anybody who is late in will not be admitted. You are encouraged to join us across the corridor in our second lecture theatre, where the whole process will be live streaming, a bit like this. If you do need to leave the ceremony during the hour or so that we'll be in here, we would ask you to rejoin in the other lecture theatres, just so that we don't destroy the flow of the day as it's going. It's a very, very important day for all of us today. Nextly, mobile phones. This is something I always say to my students. Could you please switch your mobile phones to silent? We do understand that you will want to take pictures, so please set your camera shutter mode to silent as well, otherwise it'll sound like we've got the paparazzi in the audience. We are more than understanding that people will want to take photos. Try not to stand up for too long or hold your arms up for too long, because you'll obscure the view for people behind you. For your information, as you can tell, there are a lot of cameras here today. We're also live streaming onto our YouTube channel, so the whole ceremony will be available for you to look at afterwards anyway. So if you just want to enjoy the moment, put your mobile phones away altogether, you're more than welcome to. We would ask that guests don't move into the stairwells at all. There is quite a lot of movement goes on during the ceremony, people coming in onto and off the stage throughout the process. So if people step into the stairway, there's a chance that we could all come tumbling down to the front. And that would be very exciting on YouTube, I tell you. Anybody from the media who is here with us today? I don't know if they're all in yet. There is a press conference at the conclusion of the ceremony. So when you are leaving, we will guide you again to our ushers, and they will point you in the right direction to the right room for where that is all happening. A very, very quick intro to how it's actually going to happen now. So shortly, the music will start again, it will fade out, and then our ceremonial music will begin. Before that, you will be asked to please rise. So everybody will stand up. We would ask you to remain standing until all of our students have come in, our academic staff have come in, and finally our platform party will join us. When the Vice-Chancellor takes the seat in the middle, then you're all invited to sit down as well, and we will begin the ceremony. That's all I have for the moment. I'm not going to ask for questions like I normally do at the end of a lecture. I hope that that's all clear for everybody. And I hope that you very much enjoy the day as much as we already are. Thank you very much.
excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
By the authority of a council and of the Senate of the University of Reading, this congregation has been summoned for the conferment of degrees. The Provost and Chief Executive of University of Reading, Malaysia, will now address the degree congregation.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, Yang berbahagia Datuk Ismail Ibrahim, Dato, Datin, Tuan, dan Puan. Selamat petang. May I, on behalf of all staff and students, welcome you to the University of Reading, Malaysia. Whether this is your first visit or you have been a regular visitor over the years, perhaps since an open day when my greeting, as I remember, was rather less polished than I hope it has become these days. May I also welcome graduates from the university in the United Kingdom who, with family and friends, have joined us today to enjoy the ceremony. This is a unique occasion. Every degree congregation is a cause for celebration, but this one is extra special. There will never again be a first ever graduation ceremony at the University of Reading, Malaysia, and there will only ever be one cohort of first graduates. I want first of all to thank both students and their parents for having faith in us, for being willing to take the risk of being a student or of sending your child, and in one case children, to a completely new university, not really knowing what it was going to be like. We showed you artists' impressions of the building because it was nowhere near ready when you started. And we told you about the great teachers we were going to hire. And you trusted us. So thank you. I then want to ask the staff of Henley Business School in Malaysia, led by Dr. Susan Rose and Mr. Jerome Jeremiah, to stand briefly. Go on. And you lot, wherever you are, come on. Yeah. I just want to see the staff of the business school on their feet so people know who they are thanking. Yeah, that's enough of that. I also want to say something about this great, if small, group of young people. It is one of the privileges of working in a university that we get to see young people go through one of life's main periods of transformation, from leaving childhood behind to becoming confident and very able young adults. Your first year, how could you forget, was in Menara Kotaraya. It was small, cosy, and perhaps being forced together there, staff and students side by side, helped to forge the bonds which have made you such a great group. And you've gone on, together with one or two renegades who went to the UK and decided to stay, to get degree results of which I am very proud. And more importantly, since they did the hard work, your teachers are very proud. They are results which will make our colleagues in the United Kingdom sit up and take notice. Finally, I'd like you all, and especially the new graduates, to reflect for a moment on the concept of soft power and the role that universities and their graduates have in it. Soft power, as the term implies, is not about the use of force or major financial resources. It is one through culture and values, and it is a way in which the less powerful countries in the world can gain and maintain influence. We all know the history of the relationship between Britain and Malaysia. And one of the striking perceptions of my time here has been that while Malaysians are delighted to have their independence, to have kicked the British out, British culture and values remain very important here. And I like to think that is as a force for good. We hope that the presence of the University of Reading as part of the Malaysian higher education system will contribute, along with other universities from the UK, to maintaining British culture and values as part of the kind of infrastructure of Malaysia. Equally, I expect our graduates and other Malaysians graduating from British universities to make their mark and Malaysia's mark, both on their parent university in the UK and on the wider world. We hope we have put you on the path to becoming successful global citizens, and that, like many Reading graduates before you, you will go on to contribute to strengthening Malaysia and Malaysia's influence in the wider world. Thank you.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, candidates will now be presented for their degrees. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I now invite the head of Henley Business School at the University of Reading, Malaysia, to introduce the candidates who will be presented for their degrees.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I present to you these candidates to whom the degree of Bachelor of Science has been awarded.
I admit each of you to the degree of Bachelor of Science of this university.
Aida Haswani binti Abdul Ghani.
Congratulations.
Cheng Lit Han. Lim Ziyu. Nabila Ashesquin binti Ashari. Awi Chun Ping. Awi Dai Jing. Ruben Tan Chung Jin. Sharifa Shamni binti Saeed Muhammad. Tan Wen Zwan. Yovindra Kanazan. Lo Chan Yi.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I now invite the Academic Director for Teaching and Learning to introduce graduates from the UK campus.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I present to you these graduates to whom degrees have been awarded at the UK campus. Nurul Amin bin Badrul. Razia Cheharon. Tuan Sharipa Najiha Tuan Mohammed Razali. Siti Misara Azman. Irul Faisal Othman. Backlin Bumavaranton. Wanshan Natalie. Tiffany Chua Jingwen. Hui Chuan.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I now invite the Academic Director for Teaching and Learning to announce the recipient of the EduCity Award for Outstanding Achievement.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I present to you the recipient of the EduCity Award for Outstanding Achievement. This award, courtesy of EduCity at Iskander, goes to the student who completed their studies at the University of Reading, Malaysia, with the best overall result. Ui Dai Jing.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I now invite Yovindra Kanazin from the graduating cohort to deliver a speech on behalf of the new graduates.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. I am Yovindra Kanazin, a graduate of Bachelor of Science, Finance and Business Management, class of 2017. I repeat that again, the fabulous, amazing, and marvelous class of 2017. Yes, guys, we made it. 2.5 years ago, I remember walking into a small classroom of 5, back then even in our small Kotaraya campus. Never did I ever thought that each and every one of you would turn out to be some of the most important people in my life. We've gone through lots of ups and downs together. We have seen many celebrations, sad moments, excitements, and even tears. No matter how tough the days were, we stood together, never giving up, motivating and helping each other, from exams to assignments to even Instagram captions. Thank you for all the great memories that we have created together. Moving on, the class of 2017 would like to thank the greatest bunch of people behind the success of our undergraduate studies, our beloved lecturers. Every time we walk into the office room with questions, our lecturers do not give us the answers. Instead, they guide us and direct us to the point that we could come up with the answers by ourselves. In many occasions, I've thought, what kind of sorcery is this? Well, that's the specialty of our lecturers. That's how they have kept us motivated and made us believe in ourselves. To all of our lecturers, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. For never giving up on us, no matter how challenging it was. Your support has not only been during the usual lectures, but also for some of our other involvements outside the campus, as well as for our career selection process. Also, a special thanks to all the personal tutors, including mine. I believe that if you could handle all of us for the past 3 years, you could now confidently handle any kind of students as your personal tutee. It's been a great training ground. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the university management for being very supportive towards all of us. You supported and funded us in setting up clubs, organizing events, and personally for me, for those every additional works, every time I participated in programs outside the campus. This includes some of our former employees who are no longer with us today in Reading, Malaysia, especially Ms. Paula Sanderson, our former Chief Operating Officer, and Ms. Brianna Edwards, our former Head of SAS. During my degree program, I was privileged to be part of the most reputable internship program in the country, known as the Perdana Fellows, in which I served as an executive intern to the Honorable Transport Minister of Malaysia, Dr. Sri Liao Tiong Lai. I also participated in several international events, such as the Model Asia-Europe meeting in Vietnam and Global Peace Building and Social Development Summit in Morocco. I truly believe that having University of Reading, Malaysia in my resume gave me that little extra edge of getting selected compared to other candidates. University of Reading, Malaysia also takes pride for its state-of-art dealing room. I remember being in that room filled with tension and stress and excitement during every trading simulation sessions. About 2 weeks after my final exams, I was called for an interview at a top local investment bank. After a few rounds of interview, guess what, guys? I got the job. Now that I will be trading on a daily basis, I will definitely miss being in the same room as you guys. It will never be as fun as before. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to Professor Dr. Tony Downs, Dr. Susan Rose, and Dr. Samantha Wesson. You have done everything possible to ensure that our journey in Reading has been a remarkable one. We truly appreciate it. Lastly, I would like to thank the greatest asset in my life. It's none other than my absolutely amazing parents. They have given me the roots when I was young, taught me with great values, continuously motivated me, believed in me when things weren't moving in the right direction, and most importantly, gave me the freedom to chart my own career path. Amma, Appa, and Sis, I can't thank you enough, but I can only pray that I always make you proud. I'm certain that everyone in the graduating class shares those similar thoughts about their families as well. To the graduating class of 2017, congratulations once again. Being here in this hall itself is a great achievement that you guys should be really proud of. Continue the great work in your career life. Never stop chasing your dreams and never let anybody pull you down. Today marks a great milestone in your life. It has been a tough one, but I'm pretty sure that it has prepared all of us to conquer the next chapter of our lives. I would like to end this speech with the credo of my inspiration, Mr. Tony Fernandez, that I've always believed on. Believe the unbelievable, dream the impossible, and never take no for an answer. No dream is too big. Thank you.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I now invite the Academic Director for Teaching and Learning to introduce the recipients of Reading University Malaysia Student Association's Excellence Award.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I present to you the recipients of the Rumsa Excellence Awards. First, for overall teaching excellence, from the Foundation Programme, Lim Tian Hui. From undergraduate programmes, Dr. Izni Sharazal Ibrahim. For research-inspired teaching excellence, from the Foundation Programme, Mohammed Isat Morshidi. From undergraduate programmes, Dr. Mohammed Faris Hamidi. For personal tutor excellence, from the Foundation Programme, Esther Chang. From undergraduate programmes, Dr. Abdul Hussein Zamani. And finally, for technological innovation in teaching excellence, from the Foundation Programme, a second award for Mohammed Isat Morshidi. And from undergraduate programmes, Don Jerome Jayamana. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rumsa Excellent Awards winners.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I now invite the Provost to introduce to you a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, as a keen student of American politics, you will recall the struggles the first President Bush had with what he referred to as the vision thing. It's probably something that all chief executives, all vice-chancellors and even provosts have to face, often at the point of moving from being a member of a team to being a leader. President Bush's challenge was to find a motivating vision for a country which arguably at that time was approaching the height of its political and economic supremacy. Now, it would not be right to compare the Iskander region with the United States of America, but in the early years of the region's existence, the challenges of vision and leadership were not dissimilar. For anyone taking on those challenges, it would be a time of risk, but also opportunity. And in spending a little time talking about that today, I hope there may be some lessons and messages for the first graduates from the University of Reading, Malaysia. At this point, let me introduce Professor Datuk Ismail bin Ibrahim, Chief Executive of the Iskander Regional Development Authority, and tell a little of his story. Datuk Ismail is almost a local boy, born in Muar, in the northwest corner of Johor. His early education was at the Malay College in Kuala Kangsar, regarded as the leading boarding school in Malaysia. This was followed by study for A-levels in England at West Bridgford Scholarship near Nottingham, on a scholarship at West Bridgford College near Nottingham, It was here, incidentally, at a reception given by the local mayor for visiting international students, of whom there was a large group from Malaysia, that Dr. Kushmel first met the girl who, quite a few years later, was to become his wife. There was the move north, only for one of them apparently, to a degree in town planning at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. That may have been the only wrong move he's made in a distinguished career. Pity perhaps he did not opt sooner to become a graduate of the University of Reading than studying for the same degree in Edinburgh. Perhaps we should concede that at that time Edinburgh was a little more exciting as a destination for a young man than Reading was, although we would argue that things have changed. Upon graduating, Dr. Kushmel returned to Malaysia to what he imagined would be a fulfilling career of loyal public service, starting as a town planning officer in the Federal Department of Town and Country Planning, part of the Ministry of Housing and Local Government. Over the next 17 years, his career progressed steadily. His geographic area changed from time to time, but always in and around Kuala Lumpur and the Klang Valley. It was, as I say, fulfilling, no doubt successful. But one senses there was not an ambition except to continue within that career path, no doubt eventually to a senior position within the department. Perhaps more significant than it seemed at the time, the first deviation from the path came with a move to Penang as State Town and Country Planning Director. This brought a higher level of responsibility, and with it, a first taste of leadership, and certainly in the early part of his tenure, a real learning experience. Surprisingly, tenure in that role quickly came to an end, one suspects because he had become sufficiently prominent to have attracted attention. Dato' Kushmel was approached to accept secondment to Khazanah Nasional as Senior Vice President of Special Projects, with specifically to contribute to the Special Unit for Planning the Economic Zone for Southern Johor. With hindsight, it seems obvious that this was a chance to leap at the opening of a new, significant and distinguished career. At the time, it was perhaps not so obvious. The viability of the idea was questioned in some quarters, the comparisons with developments in China ridiculed, and the proximity to Singapore seen as a threat, not an opportunity. Moreover, it required a deviation from what until then had been the only obvious route. But opportunities only come once, and it's no good regretting them later. So, Dato' Kushmel left Penang after just under 3 years and started working on what was to become the Iskandar Development Region, with 2 key tasks: to help pilot the necessary legislation through Parliament, and to help find the first chief executive. With these achievements out of the way, within 2 years, Dr. Kushmel wanted quickly to get back to public service and the career path of a successful public servant. He returned to the ministry, now in central government as Director of Special Planning, tasked with reviewing the National Physical Plan and reinstating the National Physical Planning Council. Things were not going quite to plan in Iskandar. 2 chief executives had been and gone in quick succession, and there was an urgent need to find a replacement who would bring stability to the role and to the organisation. Happily, it was a case of cometh the hour, cometh the man. On the 1st of January 2010, Dato' Kushmel took up the position of Chief Executive of the Iskandar Regional Development Authority. The appointment in 2010 was for 3 years. He's still there. And that means that he's now in the 2nd year of a 3rd term as Chief Executive. That length of time in the role is the best indication that the much-needed stability in the infant organisation has been achieved. The change in the career was this time more dramatic, and because of the turnover amongst predecessors, the risk are that much greater. This was not a secondment. This was a step off the familiar career path into the unknown of the private sector and into a role where vision was needed and a steady nerve, and where the risk of failure was considerable, not least because there were many both inside and outside Malaysia who would have been happy to see the Iskander project fail. So the task was formidable. The authority had been established to develop the Iskander development region into a strong and sustainable metropolis of international standing. That was about it, I think, as far as the definition went. That required the new chief executive to have a sense of what that meant and to be able to communicate that both inside and outside the organization. It also required the development of a culture for the organization which meant that it could function effectively. Vision and leadership. A long-term plan to transform southern Johor into not only an economic powerhouse, but also a smart and environmentally sustainable, livable megacity, and a culture of shared values and trust. The project is not finished, as we all know. We're roughly halfway through a 20-year plan. The 10-year progress report, taking account of developments until September 2016, shows remarkable achievements. Jobs have been created, the population has grown, economic growth is better than the national figure, and has contributed to Johor having the best growth rate of any state in Malaysia, although even Johor is a little behind the Iskander development region. Committed investment has topped 200 billion ringgit, with 40% of that coming from overseas. And seemingly Singaporean skepticism has been overcome, since it is the second largest contributor inward investment after China. Of course, this is not the work of one man alone, but someone has to see and seize the opportunity, take the risk, provide and communicate the vision, and give the leadership required. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I present to you Yang Berbahagia Datuk Ismail bin Ibrahim for the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws.
I admit you to the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws of this university. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, please, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, living and working in a university has many memorable moments. But today's graduation ceremony here at the University of Reading, Malaysia, is a very special occasion indeed. It is, of course, our first such ceremony on this beautiful campus. So as well as recognising the hard work, the commitment, the dedication of all those who have graduated today, we thank them and the staff for their pioneering spirit. As the Provost said, to be the first to do something can never be bettered. And so for those of you who are graduating today, you will always be able to look back in the years ahead and say, yes, I was there on that exceptional day, the 22nd of July, 2017. So congratulations once again to each and every one of you. But I too would wish to pause and give a special mention for those of you who join us as our guests today. In so many different ways, you have provided the necessary support which has made our graduates' success possible. Thank you for all that you have done, and I hope this is a very proud day for you too. Since it was founded as University College Reading in 1892, we have always been a university with an international outlook. The first students from overseas who came to study in Reading arrived in the earliest years of the 20th century. We think that the first Malaysian student came to study at Reading in 1934. Now, around 25% of our total student population is made up of those from outside the UK. Even more significantly, ladies and gentlemen, 14% of our student body is being educated outside the UK, including, of course, here in Malaysia. So the University of Reading is truly a global institution, and you here in this lecture theatre are right at the heart of it. And while the University of Reading in the UK has much to cherish in its history, the same can be said too when reflecting on the shorter history of the University of Reading, Malaysia. From the groundbreaking ceremony very close to the spot where I am standing today in February 2013, through the first undergraduate students beginning their studies in September 14, to the inauguration ceremony for this lovely building in February 2016, the University of Reading, Malaysia has been creating its own history, which all of you today are a part. And more than that, the lifeblood of our work here is represented not in bricks and mortar, even though this is a wonderful place to study and to work. It is represented in the students and staff. They too, you too, are adding to our memories. Today, of course, we celebrate this first and very significant milestone, the graduation of this first cohort of Henley Business School Malaysia students. We've also seen this year the election of the first Reading University Malaysia Students Association, far better known as RUMSA, President and Executive Officers in November. And on the staff side, we have seen a number of initiatives which all go to make up that particular culture, yes, of a university generally, but the particular culture that has been forged in teaching, learning and research here in Malaysia. In all that we do in Reading UK, Reading Malaysia and beyond, the university is a place dedicated to pushing back the frontiers of knowledge, the deepening of understanding, and a passionate desire to make the world a better place. And more than that, we celebrate and we benefit immeasurably from the rich diversity of all those who are part of our community, students and staff alike. I know, of course, that our principal focus is on those who are graduating today, but their achievements reflect the passionate commitment and the deep expertise of our staff. So alongside recognising our students, we celebrate our staff. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, in showing your appreciation to the staff of the University of Reading, Malaysia. My final words, however, are directed towards our students. You have been given a wonderful foundation for life through all that you have learned here at the university. You have a qualification from a world-class university. You have, I am sure, grown in confidence and maturity. And hopefully, too, you will have a lifelong network of contacts and, much more importantly, friends. You have also much natural ability, which we are recognising today. But I believe that the conferring of great talent also means the conferring of great responsibilities. So in your life ahead, always think of others. Provide service to those that need it. Be a good citizen and be an energy giver, the sort of person that other people just want to be around. And in the months and years ahead, I hope that you will always carry with you fond memories, both of the University of Reading in the UK, but also, and more particularly, fond memories of the University of Reading, Malaysia. Let me conclude, ladies and gentlemen, with the words of W.M. Childs, the very first Vice-Chancellor of the University of Reading, who said, "Universities sometimes do beautiful and remarkable things. They dream and imagine." So today, the first graduating class from the University of Reading, Malaysia, go from here, dream, imagine, and do beautiful and remarkable things. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you please to be upstanding as I declare this degree congregation closed.